So the improvement on the ultimate load method was the limit states method of structural design. So we had the working stress method earlier. It was improved by a new method, the ultimate load method. There were demerits in the ultimate load method. So the improvement over the ultimate load method came up as the limit states method of structural design. So before I continue with the limit states method of structural design, let me inform this is the method which we presently follow. This is the method which has been recommended by the Indian Standard Code for designing the structures in India. The limit states method, popularly known as LSM, presents a comprehensive and rational solution to the structural design by considering safety at ultimate loads and serviceability at working loads. So over here we find that the limit states method is a combination of the ultimate load method at all the levels except for the serviceability. At serviceability level, at serviceability condition, the working load method gives us a better approach. So the limit states method has a combination of both the methods, the ultimate load method and the working stress method, a combination with more research in it, and thus it presents a comprehensive, a wholesome and rational, proper, good solution to the structural design. Now over here we find that a multiple safety factor format is used to provide adequate safety at ultimate loads as well as enough serviceability at working loads by considering all possible limit states. So whenever we are working for say flexural design or at collapse, say shear, torsion, compression, at that time the ultimate loads have been given adequate safety by the factors, the load factors. And similarly, at serviceability, we cannot use the same load factors. Different factors have been given for the working loads when the serviceability condition, that is the condition for deflection, crack widths, vibration is considered. The values of the various multiple safety factors is obtained on a sound probabilistic basis considering the different kinds of failures, types of materials and the loads. Depending upon the failure, say it is flexural, the failure is in bending, or the failure is in shear, failure is due to torsion, failure by compression, that is crushing. So considering the different types of failures, or failure could be because of excessive deflection. So for different failures, different multiple safety factors have been prescribed. It also depends upon the type of material used and the type of load. Now over here in this graph, we find that there is something called as the specified characteristic strength. Now this specified characteristic strength takes into account the 95% of the cases, the considered cases, and throws out the 5% defectives. We will discuss this shortly, but only understand LSM is a combination of working stress method and the ultimate load method. Limit state. How do we define it? Limit state is a state of impending failure in a structure beyond which it ceases to perform its intended function satisfactorily either in safety or serviceability. That is, it either collapses or becomes unserviceable. Limit state is that point in the lifetime of the structure, after which either it will be collapsing or it can be of no use. It is unserviceable. So limit state is that particular point from where after which its intended function ends. Now, which are the different limit states? The different limit states defined are limit state of collapse. This is the one which deals with strength, overturning, sliding, buckling, fatigue failure, that is fatigue fracture, etc. Limit state of collapse include flexure, compression, shear and torsion. All this has been covered in IS 456. Limit state of serviceability. Limit state of serviceability is the second limit state which deals with discomfort to the occupancy or malfunction which is caused by excessive deflection, crack width, vibration, leakage, etc. Now, limit state of serviceability include first one is deflection and second one cracking. So all this discomfort to the occupants or the malfunction, excessive deflection, crack width, the vibrations occurring in the slabs due to whatever, maybe someone is walking on the slab and we can feel the vibrations. There is leakage through the slab, leakage through the beam. All this comes into the limit state of serviceability. The third one, limit state of durability. This is the one which deals with loss of durability and time dependent deteriorations such as creep, fatigue, diffusion, etc. The main aim of the limit state design is to ensure that the chance or probability of any limit state being reached is very low. So, the main aim of limit state design is that that particular event after which the structure will become unserviceable or it will collapse. The chance of this event should be very low. Therefore, multiple safety factors for each limit state have been defined. Different safety factors for materials as well as loads have been defined. Now there is a term which has been very important given over here, that is the characteristic strength of a material. The characteristic strength of a material means that value of the strength of the material below which not more than 5% of the test results are expected to fall. The meaning of this would be, suppose I want M20 concrete. Now when I want M20 concrete, I consider the cubes done, say about 100 cubes have been done. I have done the cubes thinking that I will be getting M20 concrete, and now when the cubes are tested, I find that most of the cubes are giving me more than M20 Newton per mm square, that is 20 Newton per mm square. Say in this, there are 5 cubes which are giving me exact 20. Others are giving me more than 20, that is say 21, say some cubes are giving me 21.5, 22.3 and so on. But there are 5 cubes giving me 20 and there are 5 cubes giving me less than 20. So the characteristic strength of the material is that value of the strength below which not more than 5%, 5 out of 100 are expected to fall. So maximum 5 are below 20, rest are all above 20, 20 or above 20. So the grade would be taken as M20. characteristic strength of the material would be taken as 20 because only 5 are less than 20. So up to maximum 5 out of 100 can be less. After that, whatever is the value we are getting, that becomes the characteristic strength of the material. Now for the reinforcing steel, the characteristic strength is the characteristic value which shall be assumed as the minimum yield strength, yield stress, or 0.2% proof stress as given in the relevant IS specification. So whenever we are testing the steel, the stress strain curve is drawn. So take the minimum yield stress. This is the characteristic strength. But suppose if the graph does not define the yield point, the definite yield point, then as shown over here in the graph, in this graph, we define something called as 0.2% proof stress. Now how do we get 0.2% proof stress? From the origin to the curve, we have to draw the tangent. Parallel to the tangent, at 0.2% strain, draw the line. It hits the curve, the stress strain curve at the point A. The stress at the point A shown on the y-axis, on the stress axis, is the proof stress. So for the steel, it is either the minimum yield stress or this 0.2% proof stress, which is taken as the characteristic strength of that steel. Similarly, the term characteristic load means that value of the load which has a 95% chance, 95% probability of not being exceeded during the life of the structure. We are sure that the probability is 95%. 95% is the chance. We are sure that it will not be exceeded during its life. So that is the characteristic load. Then there are terms called as the partial safety factor. The partial safety factor is a value by which the characteristic strength either of concrete or reinforcing steel is divided to arrive at the design strength of concrete or the reinforcing steel. So partial safety factor is the factor which is applied to the characteristic strength in order to get the design stress level or the permissible stress level. So when assessing the strength of a structural member for the limit state of collapse, there is one limit state of collapse. So when we are assessing the strength of the structural member for the limit state of collapse, the values of partial safety factor in the code, it is given as used as gamma m. It is given in the code as 1.5 for concrete and 1.15 for steel. So for concrete it is given as 1.5 and for steel a lower one which is 1.15. IS 456 prescribes the value of compressive strength of concrete to be taken as characteristic strength upon 1.5. So the code clearly mentions that the compressive strength to be taken as whatever the characteristic strength is there, that should be divided by 1.5. So that comes to 0.67 FCK. So if you see in the graph, FCK is the stress strength which we get of the cube. So the compressive strength to be taken for the structure for that particular concrete is 0.67 FCK. Into this, the partial safety factor 1.5 is to be added. So added in the sense this value would be divided by 1.5. So the design strength for concrete becomes equal to 0.67 FCK divided by the partial safety factor for the material, that is gamma m. So we get it as 0.446 FCK. So the value of the design stress in concrete is 0.446 FCP. Now the design strength for steel is Fy upon 1.15. I have just now mentioned that for steel the partial safety factor is 1.15. So that comes to 0.87 Fy, where Fy is the yield stress. Look at the curve over here in the diagram. This picture is given in our Indian Standard Code. So Fy, the original graph is shown. Fy is much higher, and then when we are applying the partial safety factor, the same graph gets subdued, the same graph appears down, and that is Fy upon 1.15. So we get the strength is 0.87 Fy, where Fy is the yield stress. So that's how we get the stress for the concrete and the stress for the steel. So for steel, the yield stress is 0.87 Fy. A higher partial safety factor has been applied to concrete as compared to reinforcing steel because the steel is produced under controlled conditions. It is produced in the factory totally under controlled conditions and has a better quality control as compared to the production of concrete, which is produced generally at the site and the quality control is less. So the partial safety factor for steel is 1.15 and that for concrete is 1.5. In case of limit state of serviceability, the partial safety factors for both steel as well as concrete both are taken as 1. This is as per what I had mentioned earlier. In order to check deflection, cracks, vibrations, we need limit state of serviceability. Over here, to get the actual deflections, actual crack width, we cannot magnify those values. So the partial safety factors for both steel as well as concrete as materials are taken as 1. A safety factor of unity is appropriate here because it is needed to arrive at the actual values of deflections and crack width under the service laws and not safe values and not the magnified values as I mentioned earlier. Now, three different load combinations have been given in clause 36.4.1 of Indian Standard Code for the combined effects of dead loads, imposed loads, that is the live load, and wind or earthquake loads. Now, limit state method is currently the recommended method by IS 456 for design of all types of structures. Till some time back, for designing the earth retaining structures or water retaining structures, the working stress method was prescribed. But lately, the limit state method is recommended for design for all types of structures, whether it is buildings, bridges, water retaining structures, earth retaining structures, or whichever. So it is the limit state method which we are following for all the types of design.